a little longer than he was able to in the first.
Led for serve.
Well, there's no doubting his power. I've said this about players in the past. If he was a lumberjack, the trees would just lay down. They got no chance.
Great bit of timing on that forehand down the line from Gabashvili. Real acceleration. Really strong right arm.
It's gone back to the sort of weather where it's unlikely Federer will break sweat.
Yes, he's endorsed just about every product there is, Federer in Switzerland, and there was a thought at one stage they'd try and market the Federer perspiration, but they found there wasn't enough of it.
Easy to market though, wouldn't it? The times he won 3 majors in a year, 3 times in his career. They were the vintage years in the bottle. And still in front here, and the boss at a set and 2-1. I don't think it's unreasonable to repeat that Federer at the top of the game and then Nadal coming up behind, the ambassadors that they have been for the sport, the lessons that they mete out to younger players coming through. It's difficult to calculate the worth of that as well for it.
Yes, RESPECT, which is what they all have for these two players at the top, and I think it's beginning to apply to Djokovic as well. A mean look, but I think he's looking inwards, really, not so much at Federer, as they all respect the great man. Says something. Matching him in winners.
Seats quickly, please. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
And the second serve points one is pretty major, isn't it? 3 from 13, Federer 8 from 14. But on serve, second set, Gabashvili 1-2.
Well done, sir. Chose the most difficult shot to bring off and played it absolutely perfectly. We saw a few from Leighton Hewitt against Federer when they met in the final. Federer was moving.
Gabashvili is challenging the call left to the service line. Was called out.
Federer's pretty sure it was in.
Second serve. $15 all. Gabashvili has 2 challenges remaining.
20 strokes, I think, in the point. Is that the longest rally?
15-30.
Federer doing really well to counter the earlier backhand down the line from Gabashvili. Clever shot by Federer, taking all the pace off the ball. Gabashvili would probably have preferred a backhand to a forehand volley, but even so, it was a tricky one.
Left for serve.
Well done.
Yes.
Yes, he took the slightly longer route. I thought earlier he may have played a into-out forehand to the Federer backhand instead of going to the Federer forehand. But all's well that ends well.
Advantage Gabashvili.
That's the one, sideways to the forehand. Hewitt exposed that in Brisbane quite a few times. I think that's the chief one through where he's lost a bit of pace.
Yep.
Movement, pace. They just come at the wrong time, haven't they, the errors for Gabashvili?
Yes, and it's all really a matter of concentration at times. You play a big point, just a little bit of relaxation, whereas the senior players are able to keep a grip on their mind.
It's interesting, in the first match on this court, Lise Cornet against Sharapova, who made such a good fist of the second set, but she lost a set point at 6-5, Cornet, to go to 6-all in the tie-break. Slammed her racket down in the bag and grabbed her water bottle and didn't win another point.
Yes.
You know, sometimes when you get a bit stroppy, it motivates and it can help, but surely that has to be the case if you're going to show that.
Yeah, you've got to channel your anger.
Yeah, it's worthwhile going back there, isn't it, with that sort of power?
Yes, that must really irritate Federer, I would think. Gabashvili taking him on, sort of a bit of Indian arm wrestling, taking him on the forehand here, matching his power and then ending up the superior one.
Well done, and that's becoming a bit of an issue. I'm worried brow of Federer. And of course, that's where the little black books of coaches comes in. He's got to create his own book here. He's played Federer the once before, of course, Gabashvili. But that was Wimbledon 2007. There's an awful lot of wood under all the water under all the bridges since then.
Just another forehand.
2007, Federer was winning 3 of the majors, not the French, but he was in the final, as he had done the previous year, 2006. Federer at his prime when they played.
3-2 and 4 the score was then.
$15. Correction.
It was a muffled cry, wasn't it, that was immediately corrected.
Regret the point.
Yeah, he knows it. Wonderful return. The backhand's helping him out at the moment.
I loved his approach to it there. Little sideways skip towards the ball. See the use of the right shoulder in the shot, so important.
Mr. Edberg, picture please.
14-15. Game, Federer.
I'm just looking at Edberg out our commentary box windows, just nodding his head forwards.
Federer
2 serve volleys in a row. Federer setting 3-2 the lead.
Why this watch? This watch is an icon. A remarkable achievement.
Yes, the facilities, of course, under major upheaval here and revamp. Margaret Court Arena is virtually done. It will be next year with a retractable roof. They're spending a lot of money for over 300 million Aussie dollars on the first phase and another 300 and something million on phase 2.
Yes, and it's not all, of course, down to Tennis Australia. They get a great deal of help from the City of Melbourne and the State of Victoria, who realise the importance of this in terms of publicity for both Melbourne. One of the reasons why Flinders Park was changed into Melbourne Park, and the Melbourne sign emblazoned on the court is to emphasise this wonderful city, really, and its attention to sport, which it certainly gives.
So this is where it all came undone for Gabashvili in the first set. Serving at 2-3 in the second.
$15 left.
The effectiveness, quite often pointed out, of shots down the line. It's giving the opponent that little less time to move to it. It's that short route.
Just another one of those little flicks to perfection. The strength in Federer's wrist must be extraordinary. You could probably squeeze a brand new tennis ball in half.
15-30.
Yes, some years gone by, 20 years or so or more, he could have had a good ad for flicking his bick, couldn't he? Well played, sir.
He's played some wonderful points, hasn't he?
I think 9 out of 10 people were expecting Federer to win that point. Federer certainly thought by getting in he'd be able to put away a fairly easy volley, I believe. But Gabashvili just showing a little bit more turn of foot here. Got there with a bit of time to spare. And we've seen already these backhands down the line. Federer, I think, was expecting it cross court.
Super.
40-30.
I wonder if Federer's theory is, if at first you don't succeed, try again, coming into the net. What a shame, and what resistance. A little acknowledgement there, I think, by Gabashvili on the Federer resistance. It seemed to be all Gabashvili until the high backhand volley, and he couldn't really get the power into it.
That's great disguise. He was going backwards when that drop shot was played. Gabashvili did well to actually get there.
Yes, great awareness by Federer of that very point. Gabashvili obviously expecting another hammer blow from Federer. It's a terrific picture, isn't it, of the two of them.
Another break point. Well, it's exactly the same as the pattern of the first set. Concentration, focus, so hard to maintain. Federer breaks through.
Federer leads 4-3.
Such a shame, because he played the backhand down the line so well and had read the cross court perfectly. He was in prime position here to win the point. Just a little lacking in technique. You can see losing control of the racket there.
15 love.
Just quickly mention that from a British perspective, some success in the doubles today after the disappointment of Hutchins and Fleming going out, and Jamie Murray too with his Aussie partner Piers. Inglot Huey from the Philippines, Dominic Inglot from Great Britain. 12 seeds. They've won 6-1 in the third against Seppi and Staraci. Got a touch right now.
30 love.
Petito Staraci.
It's a great name, isn't it?
Let for serve.
Oh, unlucky.
Pity.
40 love.
I wonder if Federer knew it was going out. Not that he could have done anything about it. He was well and truly beaten.
I love the way when he hits a winner like this. He sort of walks around with his chest about 6 inches further forwards. It was a good mixture of serve and volleys. Bit of touch, bringing the opponent in. And the pattern continues of the first set. Federer set 5-2 the lead. Do you ever work consciously on your grip strength through? Because it's clear on that volley of Gabashvili he lost his grip.
Yeah, well, yes, I think most of us did, you know, whether, as you say, it's squeezing a tennis ball or squeezing something here or finger press-ups or whatever it might be. I think it really does help to have a strong grip. I think he's got a strong grip. I mean, we've seen it on his forehand. He just hasn't practiced it enough on the forehand volley.
Federer's taking his shirt off, so that's caused a bit of excitement here. Look at the women behind. Hey, he's not bad, is he? 32.
Steady on, ladies.
I mean, a suit hangs on him magnificently. Federer, he's won nearly $70 million in prize money. He's a gentleman. He's an ambassador. He does so much for his foundation and charity and children. I'm sure he makes the most amazing father. Roddick once famously said when he was denied another major at Wimbledon and lost to him in the final, "I try to hate him, but you just can't."
And speaking of Roddick, Gabashvili had a good win over Roddick in the French when he got to the 4th round of the French. I know Roddick on clay is not always, wasn't always the very best in the world, but a nice scalp to have for Gabashvili.
So after 69 minutes, Gabashvili serving to stay in the second set at 2-5.
Yes, another indication of the grip strength that he has. As he's really ripping this one.
It was a very loose grip initially, wasn't it? Changing from the backhand to the forehand. He's run round both sides now. That's a wonderful forehand. It glided back, didn't it? So low over the net. Beautiful.
I think Edberg would have liked that point. Interesting how Federer read the Gabashvili backhand down the line, got into position that much more quickly. And then a couple of steered backhands, not finishing this one with a total flourish, just doing an Edberg, a Rosewool backhand slice.
(15-14).
2 set points. Chatting to his box that end, Gabashvili.
Game and second set, Federer.
Well,
6 games.
ditto. Virtually identical sets. Just 6 minutes longer. But Federer, who's yet to drop a set in the tournament, is 2 sets to the good after an hour and 12 minutes. Gabashvili has never come from 2 sets behind to win before. In the replays of the set just completed, played over the big screens. It's enjoyable viewing, second time around. Everyone having a ball. Fan base everywhere. So Murray's on later. Who will he play if he wins next round, Jonathan?
He will play lucky loser Stéphane Robert. Of course, this was a battle of the lucky losers. Stéphane Robert losing to Michael Federer in the 3rd round of qualifying just a few days ago. Now he's through to the 4th round of a slam for the first time in his career. 6-love, 7-6, 6-4 the final score. His previous best in slams was a 2nd round. What a day for the Frenchman.
Yes, thanks, Jonathan. Wonderful day for him, his family, his coach. Our fellow French commentators on Eurosport next door. Let's turn our mics off again. It was some celebration. We've got so many. 11 in the top 100, I think it's 8 in the top 50.
15 all.
Simon plays Tsonga in an all-French affair later. It's in the top half of the draw, of course. Monfils against Nadal. 2nd night match tonight on Laver. Pair against Bautista Agut. Also in the top half. But they don't have a Frenchman through in the bottom half to the 4th round. We've just got Andy Murray. Now then, laps 15-40 in the opening game of the match. Again, this end through. Some patterns going on here.
Second serve.
I guess if we're right through and he's a little slower to his right, to the forehand, he's going to be more reluctant to run around, isn't he, on the backhand, because it exposes that side.
Yes.
Missed it for once. Yes, it's a good point you make. That he's probably certainly not going to admit to be, and doesn't admit to being any slower at all, Federer. And I think he's much more determined to accentuate the positive rather than think about the negative. The positive being that if he runs round the backhand, he can play some huge forehands and win the point.
It's always packed, pretty much, when Federer plays, wherever he plays. Brisbane was so thankful for him making his debut there this year. A bumper year for them.
Game Federer.
4 points in a row. Gabashvili, well, half a chance, couldn't quite take it.
Yes, it's very much the thrill of being at a major. Of course, most of the people here are Australians, but foreigners as well. And then to have seen Federer as well is a real plus, particularly for those who've just come the once. And he's included in the package.
Just a quick reminder, particularly for those of you on British Eurosport, about Andy Murray's match on Hisense Arena against Feliciano Lopez. It's following Radwanska Pavlyuchenkova. It was scheduled not to start before 15 minutes ago. Well, Radwanska's having a right old tussle with Pavlyuchenkova, the Russian.
30 love.
She was leading from memory, Radwanska, in the first set, but lost it 7-5, but is coming back in the second. 4-2, 40 love for the Pole in the second set. So Murray and Lopez could have quite a wait yet, and so will you. You'll see it from start to finish, remember, on British Eurosport, Murray's match.
40 love.
Of course, to keep an eye on it, you can not on Eurosport 2, watch it on the player, eurosport.yahoo.com or .co.uk. Subscribe and you won't miss anything. Good finish, a love game, and a good response, having not converted on the break points again.
One game.
Yes, and the first forehand volley has had a play since he missed one earlier when he was in a prime position to win the point. So some satisfaction there as well. A lot of shots, Gabashvili. It's just really a matter of stringing them together, particularly when they're most needed.
Fifteen all. 30-15.
I wonder if he thinks of himself as a Russian more than a Georgian. They're a very proud nation, the Georgians. Born there, but moved to Russia when he was, I think, about 9.
Federer flicking one to the ball boy, knocked him over. A little apology for it.
Did he catch it?
It was, no, he dropped it. It was very nearly a good slip catch. It came at him quick.
40-30. Game Federer.
2-1 Federer, third set.
Federer leads 2-1.
The mutterings continue for Gabashvili.
Yes, it must be very frustrating for him because at times he's played some terrific tennis matching and every now and again playing better tennis than his esteemed opponent, and yet not a lot to show for it at all.
I think one of the best ads that people like of Federer, and there's been some terrific ones, is the chocolate company that he endorses back home. And he's going through an airport and through customs, and he's got his bags with him, Federer. And he puts them on the X-ray machine and so on. The woman is looking to see if there's any chocolate that he's trying to smuggle in or something. He said, well, I'm afraid we're going to have to strip search you, Mr. Federer. And so on and so on and so on. And the sort of wry smile that he gives.
Seats, please. Thank you.
Two security guards, women, sort of winking at each other. Gabashvili, 2 sets down, 1-2 down, third set.
Love 15. Love 30.
Four, 4-2 first round against the wild-carded Aussie James Duckworth. 2-1-6 against Blaz Kavcic of Slovenia, second round. 7-4 in the breaker. That final set, second round, his only real sort of test so far, Federer. This is getting a little sort of towards the routine.
Yes, he would certainly have taken this as a draw, really, for his attempt to win this title again. You know, we talk about the great depth that there is in the tennis,
15,
but, you know,
14.
when you reel off those names, in wildcard, Duckworth and Kavcic, now Gabashvili, a lot of people wonder.
Well done. As we mentioned at the start, he'll be thrilled if this continues, because the road potentially is Tsonga, Murray, Nadal, and then Djokovic. If he was to win here, Federer, with those names beaten, it would probably be the greatest of all of his 18 majors. By some distance. And he gets the break.
Just enough power and enough lift on the serve for Gabashvili really to find difficulty getting on top of it. He'd need to be off the ground, really.
Sounded like you just jumped through a hoop then.
Thanks. Oh, well held. Not meant to catch them, but ball kick did.
Having dropped one earlier.
30 love.
There we go. Look at that. One-hander.
Federer watched it too, didn't he?
Love.
Yep. Needs to pull up his socks now, doesn't he?
Playing Federer.
4-1 now, Federer, third set. Easing
Federer leads
to victory.
4-1.
Why this watch? This watch has witnessed the magic of Melbourne, the promise of a new season.
Having a little bit of trouble, I think, either with the right foot or the right leg is Gabashvili. I don't think it's really inhibited him much during the course, but every now and again he's felt it, grasped it.
All-time champion. It doesn't just tell time, it tells history.
It's a certain amount of satisfaction for him anyway. I mean, losing, no shame, of course, at all, losing to Federer, and done really well to get thus far.
75,000 Aussie dollars for third round. That doesn't go amiss either, does it, for him?
No.
His career, he's made $2 million prize money, Gabashvili.
Federer getting some of his own back on Gabashvili, who'd lobbed him well, if you haven't been with us all the time. So we've seen some real variety, versatility from Federer of late. Backhand slices, roll, topspin lobs. Try a little bit of experimenting. He's ahead of himself.
30 all.
Probably means that Federer actually didn't hit the ball quite as solidly as Gabashvili had expected.
Good old-fashioned tennis, chip and charge.
40-30.
It's interesting. I'll keep my beady eye on Edberg every time he comes to the net, and he says something after every one of those, Edberg. At other times, nothing.
Game Gabashvili.
Well done. More respectability to the scoreboard.
Federer leads 4 games to 2.
Yes, it's probably not the consistency he was looking for, 2-2-2-2 and 2, but yeah, there's that problem with the left leg.
Fifth ace. Only one double. Is Federer's average of doubles per match for about 2 or 3?
Yes, just
30 left.
just about 2. Very few. Of course, most of those matches are best of 3-set matches, but still.
Looking for a Fed Express service game in a minute. Was it? Just a look from Federer, no challenge.
$14-15.
The game away from yet another 4th round of the Australian Open for Roger Federer.
Federer leads 5 games to 2.
Would be a 13th straight year.
Yeah, and then the big task
It is huge, isn't it, the task?
lies ahead in the next round. It's really what he might well be thinking about even now. But he can keep up some of the form he's shown here. It just seems a pity from Gabashvili's point of view that he hasn't got a few more games, because in many ways he's deserved them. It's just a matter of these players winning the right points at the right time. Gabashvili's great shots coming perhaps when it didn't matter quite so much.
Time.
His weight hardly ever seems to have changed through his career either, I'm afraid.
No. If anything, he looks a little lighter.
Yeah. Still pretty much packed around this Rod Laver arena, 15,000 seats.
$15 left.
Third ace for Gabashvili, serving to stay in the match. There's that flick again.
$15.
Love you, Roger. Not the first time he's heard that. Berger doesn't even smile anymore.
She's got a lot of competition. Everybody else is jumping on her at the moment. Nice. You might wonder where the leg problems have come from with Gabashvili, but you've got to remember that prior to this match he played a 5-set match against Fernando Verdasco. No easy subject to beat. Won't beat him in 5. That would have put a lot of strain on Gabashvili.
In his previous 2 matches, in the real heat. Nice. He's had his moments, hasn't he, Gabashvili, to really impress this Rod Laver arena. That's the philosophical look about him. It's only a matter of time. Oh, it's just brilliant the way he brought him in there, softened him up.
40-30.
Look towards the box. His first round match, he forgot Edberg was in there. It took him a set to sort of look for him. Like trying to get away from someone in a dream, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, this almost exemplifies the difference. Terrific play by Gabashvili up to a point, and then the master has the last bit of magic.
Advantage Federer.
Match point.
I think he loves to finish matches with a big backhand. Makes him sleep easier.
Advantage Gabashvili.
I think the cameras were hoping to catch the moment of victory with a Federer shot. Not one of them was concentrated on Gabashvili. Those big lenses were all pointed in Federer's direction.
Fifteen left.
I think he'd quite like to finish the match with this sort of shot.
Sick face brings up 3 more match points. How many of them will stand when the match is done? Not many get a standing ovation when you walk on the court and off it. Federer's one of those. Let's have a look as he holds to love to secure yet another win. Yeah, it's almost in unison. The whole of the Rod Laver arena stand to salute one of the greatest of all time. Gabashvili had his moments, He's got memories, cherished memories of playing this great player on another major court. Beaten at Wimbledon, beaten here in Australia. Federer through and comfortably for the huge challenges that lay ahead.
And certainly Arbeg has got some trials and tribulations that lie ahead of him. Of course, the applause, not so much for the performance today, but just for the person he is and what he's achieved. No disgrace, Gabashvili. You came up with some terrific tennis. We remember particularly some of those backhands down the line.
I don't know why, but it gives me goosebumps. When I see a crowd as one, 15,000 people are on their feet. Within 15 seconds of another win for Roger Federer, who's going to be having a chat with Jim Courier, a warrior.
Roger,
courtside.
that looked pretty good. We'll talk a little tennis here in a second, but first I wanted to congratulate you and Mirka on a new baby you guys are expecting. How is Mirka feeling?
It's good, thank you. Yeah, it's definitely exciting times. Last time she was pregnant, I played really well. I won the French and Wimbledon, so I got some pressure there, but now we're just happy that things are going well and just waiting, you know, seeing how things are going to go.
Last year, you were not feeling necessarily your best with your back, but I've read some stories. Sounds like your body's doing a little bit better now. How would you say your body's feeling overall?
Good. I'm just happy waking up in the morning and feeling not like an old man, so that's very positive. Felt like that.
You're looking right at me when you say that. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that.
You're not that old. A little bit old. No, and it's been a tough year last year. Sure, it takes some time also to figure out what you need to do to feel better, to get your confidence back, because I think that's what it was mostly, just confidence in my movement, in my body, and now since probably 4 to 5 months, I feel like I'm back to normal again, you know, or at least I feel like I've done the work to catch up and haven't had any setbacks, so it's very positive, and I think that's also one of the reasons I'm playing well right now.
I'm fascinated with the racket change. I played with a similar racket to what you've played with your whole career. Now you've made the adjustment. What's this racket doing for you different than the other one?
Still a tennis racket, you know, but I'm just very happy that it's gone rather smoothly. You know, I was testing after Wimbledon. I've done testing throughout my career. I was not one of those guys who just said, this is it, it's the only racket I can play with and I want to play with, because the game changed quite a bit over the last 10 years. So I think it's important to stay open to, you know, string change, racket head size change or whatever it is, because I do believe it gives me easier power on the serve, and it's just important now to sort of get used to it, and I'm not even thinking about it while I'm playing, so that's a really good thing actually when you change rackets.
I'm a little bit of a racket geek. Did you have to change the weight and the balance to deal with the extra power that's giving you, or is it all the same specs as your old racket?
I think it is the same specs. I'm not even quite sure. As you see, I'm not crazy for all the little details. I talk about it and I tell them it feels, you know, too heavy, too light, and they'll make adjustments along the way. And it was an easy switch, really, to be honest. You know, I tested a few rackets, and this is the one that I felt was best, and so far it's paying off, which I'm very happy about.
I'm interested also that you've recently enrolled in the Stefan Edberg fantasy camp. How'd that come about?
I don't know how that came about. I mean, I was just thinking, you know, maybe we could have somebody very inspiring part of my team, and I thought that maybe Stefan would be that person, and so I gave him a call, and he thought about it for a while. So I'm happy that he said yes, and we're going to do a few weeks together in the team as of this year, and for me it's a thrill because he's the one I used to watch the most next to Boris and Pete growing up, so it's...
I'm right here, buddy. I'm right here.
Well, you took him out. That's why I don't like you so much.
We had a viewer question wanted to know if you ever had a chance to ball boy for Stefan in Basel, because he won that tournament where you're from several times.
I think I did, but I'm not sure, because I didn't keep count of who I ball boyed. But, you know, there's some guys very vividly I know I ball boyed for, but with Stefan, like some... like who? Michael Stick. He told me to go, you know, how to move around as a ball boy. I remember that. Then who else? Wayne Ferreira, who then I played doubles with later on the tour, and those kind of guys, you know. But I remember getting his autograph. I still have it.
Very nice. Well, you're going to get a chance to spend a lot of time with him. You're into the second week again. Interesting matchup. It's going to be a Frenchman on the other side, either Gilles Simon or Joe Tsonga. Play both of those guys. What are you thinking about the second week and your form coming into it overall?
Yeah, I mean, the first goal was definitely just to get through the first week, see how things are going to go, because I did have not the best of Wimbledon and the US Open, so you don't want to get ahead of yourself. And now clearly the draw is getting extremely difficult, regardless if it's Gilles or Joe, and looking forward to it. You know, I've done the work. I've not lost a set so far, so we'll see how it goes from now on.
Well, best of luck. It's always good to see Roger Federer. It's always good to see him in the second week.
What was that, 9 questions? He's now going to go and do interviews in 3 languages. Never a problem. Everybody stayed, even the chair umpire stayed. They're normally quick off the court. Everybody wanted to hear from Roger Federer, and it's wonderful that he will be in the second week again, down under. Comfortable in the end, it really was. That is for sure. Now, Andy Murray is next up on the Hisense Arena. For those of you on British Eurosport waiting for that, Radwanska is 3-love in the final set. We're going to head out to the Margaret Court Arena first as a little filler before we go to Andy